I show gratitude. I write down 6 things that I'm grateful for. I write out 6 things that I have to complete that day, and I time block them and put on how long they're going to take me. And then at the end of the day, I celebrate my successes. So just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you like it. So the key is finding out not just what you're good at, but what you really, really enjoy doing. And then say, okay, now that I know what I'm passionate about and I know why I want to get to where I want to go.
Welcome back to Life Worth Chasing. I'm your host, Chase Mashore, and this show is about helping entrepreneurs build their business around their dream lifestyle. She is a Discovery Bay powerhouse realtor selling over 100 homes a year, a results-driven and proven thriving real estate coach and trainer, a mother, a wife, an advocate of FIRE, financial independence and retire early. She is Krista Mashore. Krista,
hi.
Welcome to the show.
How is everybody? Hope you guys are all having a great day. I am.
I think everybody is having a fantastic day, especially because they get to listen to you come on the show and talk about how you've built such a strong business, launched a vertical that perhaps might be even doing better than the first vertical, and you're an advocate of your family. You're clearly an advocate of health and an advocate of financial independence and retire early. So I'm just really excited to get started with you. I'm really excited to learn from you. And if you want, tell us a little bit about sort of how you got started in the business world.
Well, I used to be a teacher, so I've got a master's degree in curriculum and instruction. My goal was to be a principal. And then my youngest daughter got sick, and so I decided to be a stay-at-home mom and sort of dabble in real estate. Right at the time that happened, I found out my husband was having an affair and left me and the kids with no money. And we just bought a new house. And so I had to really quickly go from being a stay-at-home mom to like diving myself into real estate so that I could, keep my kids safe and protect them and sort of still give them the great life that they deserved. And that was my focus was them. And that really catapulted my real estate business. So I did that for about 16 years, actually 17 years. And about a year and a half ago, I decided to start coaching agents across the country. So utilizing ClickFunnels and just really, diving in. I'm now coaching, have about 500 students over the past 14 months from across the country that I've coached.
Wow. Amazing.
Fun.
So can we get an idea real quick? When was that you went from dabbling to just diving in on your business of being a real estate agent full-time? What year was that?
That was 17 years ago.
17 years ago. So about 2002?
Yeah, ish. I don't know.
Okay.
17 years.
All right. So you went through the upswing, you went through the downswing,
Yes.
and survived and thrived. And now you're taking that proof of concept, you're taking that proof of success, and you're helping and coaching other agents to success. You said you have over 500 students, right?
Yes, we've had over 500 in the past 14 months. Yeah. So basically, absolutely. When I first started, my first year, I sold 69 houses. And the market was sort of a normal market. And then it transitioned into short sales and foreclosures. So we had to completely reinvent myself and start to, focus on short sales and foreclosures for about 6 years. We did that. My best year, we did 169 homes with just myself and 2 assistants. It was
Wow.
Crazy time. I was crazy. And then quite frankly, about 3 years ago, I just was exhausted. And I thought I know I'm, people would think I was crazy because I wanted to change. And I was really afraid to. I was really afraid to get out of what I was doing, out of my comfort zone, because I was making great money, as an agent, over $1 million a year. Not to brag in any way, but people looked at me like, why would you ever leave your successful career? And I wanted to because I was tired. I mean, just absolutely exhausted. I looked back and I didn't have a vacation for 17 years. I'd go on vacation and I was that person that was, getting up at 3 a.m. and working and just not ever having much of a life because I was just doing so much business. And so I decided to change. And so last year we sold 104 homes, but I only worked in my business about 5% of the time. And 95% was strictly on my coaching business. And my coaching business now supersedes my real estate business.
Wow. That's incredible. So one thing that it just sticks in my mind is that you were able to sort of build your business in a way that you could only spend, or you chose to spend 5% of your time, and you still managed to sell over 104 houses a year. And I want our listeners that may not be real estate agents and brokers, or even real estate investors that know this game of real estate, this business of real estate, to put it in perspective. Over 80% of real estate agents fail in their first few years. And I believe less than 1% sell over 20 houses a year. And you were able to do 5 times that by only putting 5% in. So if we were to backtrack just a little bit before we get into that, I really want to, I'm curious, why do you do what you do, in the sense, like, let's get into your backstory, into who you are as a person. Like, what excites you? How do you spend your time? Because I think that's really going to parlay into why you made the decision to get into the coaching. You said you were tired, and I would imagine you wanted some freedom in your life. Why do you do what you do? How do you spend your time? What excites you?
I work. I mean, that sounds bad, but I love working. My friends and family would call me a workaholic, but when you really do what you love, it doesn't feel like work, right? So I love people. I love seeing people succeed. I'm reading this book right now, Millionaire Success Habits. And he talks about how there's certain people in life that when you meet them, right, they're either an energizer, drainer, or they give you energy. And I'm the kind of person that when people meet me, I give them energy, and I just like to uplift them. And I don't know. I mean, some people just like helping people, and I'm not one of those people. I really like when my students do well, then I know I'm doing well. I'm helping them. And I got to a point in my life where I missed teaching people. I missed inspiring people. I just felt it's my calling. And I was being told for years, you should be a coach, you should be a trainer, you should be a coach. And so finally one day I just said, I'm doing this. And I remember it was a Sunday, and I called my brother and Kathy, who was working for me as an agent. And I basically said, I want help. I want to be able to basically train you guys to be me. I'll be the face of the company, but you guys are going to work it for me. And I need to do it like tomorrow. So I need you over here tomorrow, be here at 8 a.m. We're doing this. And we just jumped right in, so it was pretty crazy because we went through a lot of growing pains teaching them because we have, we're different. But it's worked out. And so they're kicking butt again and doing really, really well. And they're utilizing all the systems and workflows that we have in place. Systems are huge in your business. You've got to have systems and really have got to have certain habits, success habits, right, to help you. And one thing I will say, Chase, is that, you never stop learning, right? Like for me, I remember my dad said, this is a couple of years ago, I was getting ready to go to a conference in real estate. And he said, Krista, you're in the top 1% of realtors in the nation. Like, why are you going to a real estate conference? And I said, Dad, that's why I'm in the top 1%, because I always go to these kind of things. So you've got to always educate yourself and keep trying to improve.
Absolutely. Because if not, then things get stale and we stop growing as people. We stop growing as business women, businessmen, and we stop growing in the knowledge that we can pass down to those that work with us. And we all know, like, the stronger our people, the more power we have in our business. And we can't strengthen them, we can't support them unless we're constantly learning. We have to be that learning force. You would agree, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, for you said, what's my passion? Honestly, learning. I love learning. I'm the person that's always reading and, in the morning getting ready, put my makeup on, I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm, listening to some motivational YouTube something. I mean, I don't like to waste my time. So if I'm cooking or driving, I've usually got something in my ear, and then I implement. So one of the key things I think to be successful is you've got to implement. You can do as much training as you want to, but if you're not implementing, you're not consistent, then you're not going to see any results. And it takes a lot of time. You have to be willing to fail a lot. Like even with my coaching business, I mean, I went through about 7 months of just forking out, hundreds of thousands of dollars on trying to get this new business to come in place. And luckily I had the means to do so. But, when you're starting a new business, you have to be willing to invest your time and invest your money, right? If there's a monetary investment and there's a time investment, and you need to make sure that you really identify how much time do I need, how much money am I going to need, and what resources am I going to need to utilize to make it happen. And to know that as you fail each time along the way, because you will, that's just a learning curve, and it's helping you. Like if you're failing, you're moving forward, right? If you are failing, that's okay, because it means you're doing something, right? And you're just like that much closer to get to where you want to go. And so many people see failing as a warning sign that they should stop and not go anymore, which is completely the opposite. It means if you're failing, you're doing something. So just keep on going, and you're 5 feet from gold, as Napoleon Hill would say in his story that he did.
I love that. I love that you talked about implementing, because it's obvious to me that you're an advocate of implementing, especially with the success that I've heard that you've had from others and the success that we talked about a little bit before we started this. I think it's easy for all of us to talk about our successes. I love that you brought up failures. Can you share with me, like, what was one of the top failures that you had trying to launch this new vertical, trying to either systematize your real estate business and launch this coaching business? Take me through one of your biggest failures that you had and how you learned from that, and what you implemented right away so that it would never happen again.
Oh, well, nothing is ever not going to happen again because we fail every day. But okay, there's a couple of things, right? So when I was in real estate, we spent a whole 18 months, one of my best friends and I, trying to do this platform where basically we were doing this technology piece where you didn't really, every single piece of the puzzle for real estate was all in one platform, right? And I mean, you're talking, it was hours upon hours after working hours upon hours to develop the system, which completely failed. So we did something else. And then when the market crashed, we did something where we were really trying to help homeowners in distress. And we did help homeowners in distress. We just didn't make any money doing so, right? So we helped a lot of homeowners, but we couldn't figure out how to help us make money in doing so, which was great because we helped a lot of people save their houses. We just weren't able to make any money doing it. But later on, we actually did, because people came back and said, you were so great back then. And we went back to, 8 years later or whatever it is. But so those were, huge failures and huge time investment, right? But honestly, I think one of the biggest failures I could say that I did was not launching my coaching business sooner, because I was afraid. I know I could have done this 7, 8, 9 years sooner, and I would have been happier, right? But I was so afraid to leave my comfort zone of making this excellent money, having constant business. I was also afraid that if I launched my coaching business, that I was going to lose clients in real estate, because people would use me being a coach against me, which absolutely has happened. Agents have they'll say, oh, she's not realtor anymore, she's coaching, you're not going to get Krista, blah, blah, blah. And the proof of the matter is that they get my systems and they get my team, which quite frankly is better than just a one-man show, right? Because now they've got, different members on my team in real estate that specialize in what they're doing, and they do it, quite frankly, better than I can, because I'm like, what is that saying? Jack of all trades, master of none, right? And so, the fear of losing what you already have was a huge mistake for me, because I should have started coaching sooner, because I'm excellent at it. My students are doing amazing, and I love it. I am just so on fire about what I'm doing, right? It's like, I wake up every day, I'm that person in the shower going, I love my life, and things are, and don't get me wrong. I mean, sometimes I want to punch my husband, or I want to, I have crap that happens in my business all the time, but I just choose to focus on the good aspects of it. So it's not all perfect, but I am happy. I was born to serve. And so, and I know that about myself. And so the universe has put me there. So it's been great.
And that's amazing that you bring up, most people, when they talk about failures, they talk about one thing, I made this mistake, I paid too much for this house, or I told this person the wrong thing, whatever. You said that your mistake was not adding more to your plate sooner to get something more that you desired. And I love that you bring that up, because I think there's a lot of people out there that have just been sitting around, going through their day after day, and thinking to themselves, gosh, I wish I could be doing this, or gosh, I wish I'd be doing that, but never taking action. And so talk about that mindset that you had then, when you maybe weren't prepared, but you wish you had made that decision. And when you said 1.5 years ago, you made the decision the very next day, you had your team in the office ready to go to figure out how you could do that. What's the difference in that mindset from back then to about 1.5 years ago, when you just made that decision quick?
I was tired is the main thing. I just got to a point where I knew that in order for me to really do my coaching well, that I had to go all in, right? So I was kind of dabbling and trying to, work both jobs and work 20 hours a day. And I just thought, this is not what I want my life to be like, right? I don't even want to even show my daughters this. I don't want my daughters to see me, not see me, because I'm just working all the time. And so it was just a matter of being tired and not letting, even my parents, my parents are advocates of me, but they were like, what do you mean, Krista, you're going to quit, you're going to quit real estate? Are you kidding? Not everyone has the kind of financial success that you do. Why would you give that up? And so I had the doubt of then. And my husband, who's also super supportive, my new husband, right? I think he was a little scared too, because we've kind of had this lifestyle, and a lot of it has to do with the kind of money that I make. So I think he was also afraid financially too. So I had this burden of my biggest support people. They love me and they believe in me, but they're also scared. And so one day, honestly, I just said, screw it. I'm doing this, and I'm not going to let anything stop me. Like, no matter what, I am doing this, and I don't care about what other agents in the area try to do to me. I don't care what they think or say. I'm doing this for me. And I just know that it will end up being better. And it has. But you asked about another failure, and I'll tell you, Chase, I remember about 5 months in, one of my sales team called me, and she is just bawling. She's like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not getting any sales, and da, da, da. And I was like, Nicole, you stop right now. I'm like, you are doing great. You are doing this. We're learning. Like, we're impacting people. We're changing lives. And I need your help to help get me there. So you need to like quit your tears, get your butt back on that pony, and let's ride, And now she's like my number one salesperson. I mean, we had $100,000 week last week in new sales just last week. But with that being said, 7 weeks prior, we had 7 horrible weeks, right? Like, so it's just a matter of not stopping. I mean, when she called me, trust me, I was crying inside too. I was like, it does suck. Like, I'm losing my butt here right now. I'm like, it's costing me so much more money to make any money. I'm losing my ASS, right? But we just kept pushing. So it's a matter of, the only way I really truly could have failed is if I stopped. And I would have, if I would have stopped at that 5, 6, 7 month mark, which I wanted to so bad, we went from like honestly doing 30,000 to like 70,000 to like 400,000. And that was the difference in, our best month, in January. We had just an amazing January. Like, we almost did $600,000 in January in coaching sales. But then we had 7 weeks of crickets, right? And again, so I'm going, what is happening? It's just a matter of constantly tweaking and changing and being, adaptive to your environment, not waiting to be reactive. That's a huge part in business, is really identifying every aspect of what you're doing, what's working, what's not, being willing to change it, not being afraid to make mistakes and screw up, right? I mean, it's just so many different things.
Yeah, that's incredible that you bring that up. And I appreciate you sharing that with me as well. To reach that kind of success, and I think to have that mindset of just pushing through that 6, 7 month mark where 99% of people probably quit. And that's why when we look at highly successful people, we're like, they make it look so easy sometimes. And I think it's because we don't see that they push through those hard times, that 6 month, that 12-month period. So one thing I'm fascinated by people that reach success is like their zone of genius. Like, what do they excel at so that they can leverage out the other pieces and just stay in that zone constantly? And I think that is where major success happens and major breakthrough happens. Can you share a little bit about what you consider is like your zone of genius? What are you the best at?
Implementing is number one. I'm a master implementer. In fact, I'm in Russell Brunson's inner circle. Mm-hmm. And I didn't really even realize this about me until honestly this past year or so. But every time I go to one of his events, my inner circle members are like, oh my God, you're such a great implementer, Krista. You're just always, and I'm just going, what? And everyone says that. So one of my specialties is I implement, right? Okay. So, and I also am a very quick decision maker, which sometimes is not the best, but what I found that I make more good decisions than I do bad, plenty of bad ones, but because I make decisions so quickly, right? Like, I'm not afraid to just go, even though, and that's most people they're afraid to act. So implementation is one of my strong suits. And also I'm really good at teaching and training and coaching. So I have learned to do less of the things that I'm not good at. Like, I don't check all my emails. I have my staff send them to me. I have my own personal email address, right? There's certain things that, I'm not very creative. So I don't create, stuff on Canva or anything like that. I just do what I'm really good at, which is creating content, right? Creating training materials, training, and then going and taking courses and learning, and then figuring out who the best person is on my team that's going to implement what it is that I'm learning.
Wow. Let's talk about that. So I think that how you said, act fast. And I love the quote, I don't even know who said it, but done is better than perfect. And just acting and getting started and failing along the way and then optimizing it to get as close to perfection as possible. But we know perfect doesn't exist. So if you were to be having a teaching moment right now to share with somebody that's thinking, all right, I love Krista's energy. I don't really like what I'm doing right now. I want to do X, but I just don't know how to act, and I don't know how to act and get there. Talk about that mindset shift of making that decision and how you structure your implementation to be so dang good at it. Because I know that there's some absolute powerhouses in this inner circle mastermind. We know a couple of them, mutual friends, Nicholas and Amanda. And for powerhouses to be coming up to you and telling you you're an amazing implementer, I don't even doubt it at all. So talk about what does it take to implement quickly so that somebody listening could really change how they're viewing things right now.
Well, you've got to, I love what you said, perfectly imperfect, right? Like we're all perfectly imperfect. So don't wait to be perfect. Another big mistake that I made was I created this whole course, right? And spent this whole course, 2 years ago before I even launched. And then because I was trying to make it be so perfect. And then we had to go back and redo everything because it wasn't perfect. It was too long. I didn't do it right. But had I had started 2 years ago and not waited, I would have learned that much, much sooner, right? Mm-hmm. So just go. I know that makes it easy, but just go. So, I wrote the book Fire, Financially Independent, Retire Early, Your Crappy Job Won't Quit Itself. Okay. This book walks you through every single aspect of exactly how to do it, like how to figure out what you're good at and your stroke of genius. So just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you like it. So the key is finding out not just what you're good at, but what you really, really enjoy doing. And then say, okay, now that I know what I'm passionate about and I know why I want to get to where I want to go, how, what are the steps now to help get me there? How can I now market that and then monetize that idea? That stroke of genius, right? Again, stroke of genius is not just what you are good at, but what you're good at, but you also really, really love doing. And many times you can find, something like, for example, I went through a horrible divorce, right? And I dealt with, a psychopath on the other end. And it was just terrible for our children. Okay. Our children it was horrible for them. Let's just say you've gone through a terrible divorce, or you've gone through a divorce and you figured out a way on how to divorce really, really great and how to, make it good for the kids. That in itself is a skill that people would pay money to learn, or they would take a course on that, right? So many times you can find your stroke of genius by going through something that was really, really difficult for you, or there was a certain hardship that you went through that you were able to find a workaround, right? So the book really kind of helps you work through all that. Like, okay, so what are things I've gone through that have been good? What are things that I've gone through that are bad? What have I learned from them? Okay, what do I enjoy doing? And then just really kind of breaking it all down.
I love that you brought that up, that finding your zone of genius is really matching passion with skill set. And, one of the things that I did over the last couple of years, besides doing this whole exercise of figuring out what my stroke or zone of genius was, it literally took me 2 years to finally figure it out, was taking, okay, what do I want? What's like the end goal? Reverse engineer. Okay, what's a skill set that I have that I'm strong at that can get me there? And what do I enjoy doing along the way? And I literally built a Venn diagram where I wrote everything on the right that I'm good at. And if somebody's wondering, okay, well, how do I figure out what I'm good at? Well, what do people tell you you're good at every single day? What do people ask you for advice on? What are things that you've gone through where you excelled at that other people struggle with? Okay, those are your skill sets. Now, what do you like doing on the left? And then figure out where that matches. But the important thing is the first thing you come up with is not always what you're going to decide on, what you're going to be doing a year from now. We have to try different things. Before you got into the coaching, was there anything that you tried a fefew times that you knew, okay, the real estate agent business, I'm tired? Did you just have that lucky moment where you...
No, remember I told you I did, there's 2 other programs that I tried to do. One was building this kind of software system. Right. We spent about 18 months on that, failed tremendously. Then we tried to do this homeowner support group. We helped a lot of people. We failed, right? Failed. And I can tell you about 5 or 6 other real estate related type of ventures that I tried to do, and they just didn't work. Right. And I remember when I told my team that I was going to be a coach, and they were like, that's what you're going to be good at. They're all, you're going to kill it, because they saw in me my passion for people, my passion for helping, my skill set in that arena. And even now, so I'll tell you something else. One advice I'd love to give people is niching what you do as much as you can. So recently, because we know that we can help not just real estate agents, but I could basically teach anybody how to take their business, market it on social media with utilizing video, and I could help blow them up, right? That's how I did it in my real estate business. That's how I do it in my coaching business. I've coached other people to do it in my community, and they just nail it. So we were going to start teaching other local businesses and professionals. And so my focus over the past 90 days was off. And so that's why you saw a decrease in my income, right? Because my focus was not on my niche. My focus was I was getting too red oceany, right? And so I was like, nope, bring it back in. And almost just by making the decision to niche and knowing that I've got this, believing enough in myself that I can just niche and still do well, it helps turn it around. So you've got to be as laser focused on who your people are, who you're trying to support, what you're trying to do, and not try to be so broad that you can, again, master of all trades, jack of all trades, master of none, right? Yep. It's just so important. But Absolutely. One thing too, Chase, if I don't want to forget this, but every book that you read, and I've read every one, I'm all about how do I improve myself. I'm a complete work in progress constantly, right? We all have so many things we need to improve on.
Love it.
I recognize that about myself. And so all these different books that I'm reading, right? Millionaire Success Habits, Think and Grow Rich, School of Greatness, I'm a Badass. I can just go on and on all these wonderful books. They all have the same underlying common thread, right? And what are those things? And they're things that we overlook so often because we hear them so much that we just kind of go, oh, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, set your goals, right? But I'll tell you something. One of the things that we do all the time on a quarterly basis is we set our goals. We look to where we want to go, right? Another habit, absolutely important, is visualizing my day every single day. This morning in the shower, you are productive. Your day is going to be productive. Then I say, nope, not going. I am productive. Speaking to yourself kindly, right? So every single day we visualize our day. I read my manifesto, right? I show gratitude. I write down 6 things that I'm grateful for. I write out 6 things that I have to complete that day, and I time block them and put on how long they're going to take me. And then at the end of the day, I celebrate my successes, because so many people are so caught up in what they don't do well and what they did wrong and what didn't work that they don't celebrate their wins. Your brain and your mind is built to give you what you think about. So you've got to get in a mindset of gratitude. You've got to get in a mindset of success and celebrating what you're doing right. And also of giving, right? All those things are just such a huge aspect, I think, I know, in creating what I've created, because I make them a daily part of my life. And it's not, this isn't me saying, this is science, Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. All of it's about mindset and, visualizing your day. You get what you think. So there's a reason why they teach us this. We have to just do it and make it a part of our daily habit.
Krista, how long have you been thinking like this? How long have you had this mindset of positivity, gratitude, reading your manifesto, reading books? Where did this come from, and how long has that been a part of your life?
You're so funny. Forever. I was that kid that was, in juvenile hall and in a group home and a foster home through high school, and decided at one point, I wanted to be better. And so I just did, and so I paid for all my own college and my first car and everything that I have has been created from me, just from working really, really hard. And I love learning. And I've always been that way. I love learning, and I have a learning disability. So I was in special education as a kid. So learning was really, really hard for me. But once I got out of that special education class, which was in 6th grade, I just wanted to just be the best that I could be. And so it would take me 5 hours to do. It took everyone else half an hour to do. And luckily I've learned some skills to become better than that. But I want to be the best person that I can be in every version of it, not just in my business, but in myself. Right. So, I try to eat good, and I work out, and I try to, mentally, this is my biggest asset right here. And it's not so much my smarts as it is me just being as positive and having, it's so important in life. Even if you just smile more, right. And, the effects of a smile are insane. And just the way that you hold your body, and you go to a store or a restaurant, and you can almost pick out who's successful in that room, right? Just by the way that they hold themselves, how they greet people, how they smile, how they act. And then you see someone who's, hunched over, and the waitress comes up, and they're barely even acknowledge them. There's just 2 different kinds of people, I believe, in life, and you want to be the nicer one.
Totally. I love that. A theme that I just keep hearing with you is act, decide, implement. It's just amazing. And you might not think it because you're so used to it and you have that skill set, but to others, it's scary to act. It's scary to implement because that means change. And I just want to honor you for a second and just tell you that I love your energy. I love how quick you're saying you are making these decisions, and obviously it's benefiting you, it's benefiting your life. So I just wanted to honor you for a second, just completely transparent. That's amazing. And I keep making notes here, and I just keep underlining: act, implement, decide. Really, really special.
You're so funny. No, implementation is key, and you got to implement, right? And who cares if you make mistakes? We make tons of mistakes, right? I mean, there's all the time, every day. But if you're not making mistakes, you're staying stuck. And that's kind of the theme of that book. It's like, you're young, all right, Chase. So you're 29. I'm 47, and a person's most biggest regret in their life is by not making a change they know that they still can. Right? Because they were too afraid of doing it. And there's so many people that are my age that have been working forever for another company, and they're just miserable, right? They've been working to give somebody else financial freedom and more time, and they're miserable. They're commuting, 2 hours each way a day. Like where I live, people are commuting 4 hours a day, right? Because they're working for somebody else. I mean, that is miserable. And they know that they could do more, but they're afraid to do it. And you're going to look back in 5 years or 10 years or 20 or 30 years and go, why didn't I just try? And you will regret forever not trying. You will regret it forever. I guarantee it. And so even if you try it and hey, maybe you suck and you go back to your full-time job or whatever it is, at least you could look back and say, I really gave that my all. I modified what I was doing. I sacrificed for a while. Maybe I didn't go on as many vacations or whatever it is, but I tried. Like, don't look back and go, man, why didn't I try? It's kind of like you were a realtor and you're not now for a reason, because we know how grinding it can be. And we know that our skill sets, we have further passions. And so thank goodness that we tried, I would not be helping the people that I'm helping if I just stayed where I was at, right? I'd still be helping homeowners. It was awesome. They love me, but I wouldn't be able to positively affect massive amounts of people across the country. And my goal is, we call ourselves community market leaders. So I teach them that we don't just sell, we serve, right? The more that we sell, the more that we serve, the more we'll sell. And so I teach them to, we want to be community focused and help our community and volunteer more and give more and do that. And so that's really what I'm trying to create, is this movement across the country of real estate agents and lenders that are also willing to give back to their community and make a huger difference, abroad, if that makes sense. It's a huge, huge focus of ours.
You hit on something that, you could help a lot of people with your real estate agent business. So let's just say you sell 104 houses a year, and let's just average that every single one of those houses, let's just say it's 2 people. I know that's not the right number, but let's say it's 2 people. So that's 208 people that you can help a year. Well, you acted and made the decision, and now you're helping over 500 people a year also help other people. And so that compounding movement that you talk about, you're serving just so many more people now. Obviously, the income is helping, but that's not why you do it. But it is a support. Let's all be honest. Like, we're in business to make money.
You can make money and do what you love. I mean, hey, exactly. Why not, right?
Exactly. So let's take that. All right. Let's have a teaching moment for a second. And I truly believe that your business grows to the extent that you do, and that it starts with us. It starts with us first and foremost. We and our inner being and how we look at the world is the most important thing, in my opinion, that affects our business, affects our family, affects our health. And so let's say there's somebody that is driving those 2 hours and commuting, and they're listening to this and they're like, okay, I understand that I need to implement and start making changes in my own personal life. What would be one of the first few things that you would recommend? Maybe you talk about it in FIRE. Maybe you teach it to your students. What are the first few things that you recommend for them to implement in their own personal life that will have compounding effects on their business?
Okay, and I want to tell a story after this, but I'll tell you. First thing, this is it. You get up every morning and you show gratitude. You write out 6 things you're grateful for every single day. You write out 6 things that you're going to do to help you get closer to your goal, even if they're super, super small. Maybe it's researching today. Maybe it's, pricing, whatever it might be, right? Then you're going to write down your successes every single day. What were your wins, right? And then visualize your outcome every day. Visualize what your day is going to look like. Write down 6 things you're grateful for. Write down 6 things that you're going to do and time block them, even if they're really, really small. Success breeds success. Many successes over a long period of time equal massive results, and celebrate your wins because you will get more wins. People are so focused on what they didn't do, right? But let me explain how the severity of you taking your life back is this. When you're unhappy, okay, it doesn't just affect you. When you're unhappy, it affects your marriage, right? Then next thing you know, then your household is unhappy. Then the next thing you know is your kids are unhappy. Now you're showing your children what it's like to live an unhappy life, to live in a happy marriage, to have an unhappy household. You're now replicating to them that it's okay to live this way. It is so far beyond just you and what you're doing. You're teaching your children to be miserable. You're teaching your children it's okay to be mediocre. You're teaching your children that they're not good enough to be able to go and do what they really want. That's really what it has to do with, right? Wow. And so for me, I want to make sure that when my goal is I want to positively affect every life that I touch, right? Like every life that I touch, I want to positively affect. I want to be that energizer for people, not that down player. And by utilizing these tactics, visualization, showing gratitude, writing my 6 things out, celebrating my wins, and visualizing my day, it just gets your mind right. So I actually have this form right here. It's called Community Market Leader. Every single day we fill it out. See, it's already filled out from last week, right? So now today I'm filling out my thing. So what I had to do today, I actually wrote it on here. Here's all I want to get done today. There's too many today. So it wouldn't fit on everything. I was like, I think I need to get to the bigger paper. But I mean, I utilize these habits and I teach these habits to my students and I make them commit to doing them because just by changing your mindset, it's going to change your outcome. You get what you focus on, right? And so you've got to make that decision. Like, this is what I want to do. I'm making a decision and I'm going to start doing, 6 things every single day to get me closer. And it just needs to be little things. It might be researching for 5 minutes. Maybe you're going to go to bed an hour later or wake up an hour earlier to put time into what you want to do. And tell yourself, like tell the universe, you might call it God, whatever you call, I call it the universe, right? Like allow it to come to you, allow yourself to get what you deserve. Like one of the things it says here is give myself permission to dream of what I need. Right? That's on my sheet. I give myself permission to dream what I need because you will, but you got to keep on doing it. It can't just be like, it's got to be a daily habit that you create to get you where you want to go.
I agree. I think that the R word, we have a responsibility. Like it is literally our responsibility to do our zone of genius, do what makes us happy, do what we love and do it to the best of our ability and be the damn best at it. And that has lasting effects on our partners, on our children, on our families, on our friends. And then that energy breeds either positively or it could be the reverse and it could be constant negative and that breeds out. And I love that you bring that up. So I want to talk quick because obviously you're a master of implementation, okay? And for you to be as busy as you are, as successful as you are, and take this hour of time and have this energy of positivity is just so admirable. How have you structured your business in a way that you can do what you love? You have that book behind you, Fire. I would imagine there's quite a bit in there talking about building a business for freedom of lifestyle. How have you structured and built leverage in your business so that you can stay in that zone of genius? Let's get a little tactical here.
Okay, so for the real estate business, we created systems. So we've got systems, workflows, and action plans. So anything that we do more than once, we put it into a system, right? So it's less thinking. So you've got to really kind of break down what it is that you're doing and figure out, okay, how can I if I'm doing something 10 times every week, well, then there needs to be a system for that, right? It should be something to where you have your CRM or whatever it might be. We call it kind of like Salesforce, right? You guys, your listeners would know what Salesforce is. We utilize Salesforce. And it was a pain in the butt getting Salesforce going. But now that we have Salesforce going, it like thinks for us. It's a working thinking system. So if A happens, then automatically B, C, and D are going to happen, right? And it's going to remind me of things and send me emails. And all I have to do is push a button. The more that you can automate your business, the best. Make it to where you do something more than 2 or 3 times, put it in a system. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is figuring out if there's a way that you can have some residual income. And when I say that, I mean this. My focus now is more on serving the people that I have right in front of me, because I know that if I can just retain 5% more of my customers, that equates to 25 to 75% more business later. So once you have your customers, be just as diligent even more so than generating new business by taking care of the ones that you have. So we have something called a continuity program where after people finish our program, they continue to pay us to stay in our program. So my goal is to give them so much value, so much support that they don't ever want to leave because of fear of losing all that we get. So our focus isn't so much now, it's both, but we focus just as heavily on retaining new clients as keeping the ones we have. Even more so, our focus is on taking care of the clients that we have. So it's about continuing to be the best. And, technology in the next 6 years, you're going to see more change in technology than you've seen in the last 100. I just read an article. So in the next 6 years, you're going to see more change in technology than the last 100. So what does that mean? That means that we cannot continue to be reactive in our business. We need to be adaptive. We need to be as adaptive as possible, not reactive, right? Which means you've got to study, you've got to be involved, you've got to learn. I don't feel like I'm answering the right questions. I don't even know how to answer you how I'm an implementer. I don't know. I just am. So I hope I'm saying it right.
No, this is amazing. And so the key point, and I think this goes for our personal lives, this goes for our business lives. If you just constantly see yourself doing the same thing, systematize it so that you can cut down on time and increase efficiency. All right. If you have customers in your business, which most businesses do, right? Focus just as much time on keeping your business and keeping your customers happy than you do on generating new business. We want to focus evenly, correct? And dominate both spaces.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have an article. I wish I could find it. It has all the numbers on there. I mean, I actually just taught it to my students, and it was incredible. Just the amount, what the numbers are, right? As far as just keeping the clients that you have happy. It's pretty insane, quite honestly. Yeah. It's pretty insane.
Churn rate is definitely very, very prevalent in the SaaS space. And why can't we take those same metrics and apply them to our own business? And then the last thing that I love that you said was being adaptive. And our previous spaces of selling real estate, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would hear time and time again complaining about the market, complaining about the sellers, complaining about this, complaining about that, rather than adapting and dominating. It was complaining and being reactive. And it's just like a microcosm of entrepreneurs in general. That was just the space that I was currently in. And I love that you talk about adapting, and instead of fearing technology or instead of fearing disruption, using it to your advantage to propel yourself and become more efficient. And that's really, really amazing. So you have this incredible mindset, and I want to start wrapping up here, and I want to give some takeaways. I want to give some information that they can find you at, but you have this incredible mindset. Who are some of the people that you follow? Who are some of the people that you read, or different resources from people that you look at and you truly admire? Who are those people for you?
I just like thought leaders, right? Tony Robbins, obviously I'm a firewalker. I've done that. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, The School of Greatness, Dr. Maxwell Maltz, Cybernetics. I have it here with me. Russell Brunson, obviously he's amazing. I can go on and on. Like here we've got Tony Robbins here. I got about 15 books. This is actually bad. This is a book for guys, and I'm supposed to be reading this, but Garrett White. And just constant. I mean, I'm just constantly Googling, right? Constant. Dan Sullivan is awesome. I mean, I can just keep going on and on. I watch them all.
Have you read Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone?
I have not. I've read the 10X Rule, though I should have mentioned him too.
One of the things that I can just like feel in your energy is it's obvious, and take this as a major positive, that you're obsessed with learning.
Absolutely.
And the book, Be Obsessed or Be Average, it's an incredible book about how, for the longest time, people that obsessed about something were looked down upon as crazy, or looked down upon as just different than society. But now what we're finding is that successful people are obsessed with learning, or they're obsessed with their business. And it's obvious that you are. So if you haven't read that, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic book, especially if you loved 10X Rule, which has turned into like a major phenomenon. But
and it's true. The 10X Rule could not be truer, right? Like you're going to need 10 times more time, 10 times more money, 10 times more resources. 10 times more energy. And that's what people have to understand, is that when you're doing something, it's going to take you time. It's going to take you energy. And that's okay, right? But just know it going in and be prepared for it, so that you don't let the the burdens of life and reality make you want to crawl back get back in bed. You got to get out. You got to get out of bed. But no, I agree. I probably will read that book. I'm obsessed with. I'm awesome. Obsessed with education. That's absolutely true. But implementation. So you can learn all you want, but if you don't implement, it's not enough. You got to be education and implementation, right?
Absolutely. So, Krista, I love hearing about vision. All right. And so let's say 5 years from now, you and I are chatting and I ask you the question, Krista, look back on the last 5 years and why was it so amazing? Where are you at 5 years from now that would make the 5-year journey there just so incredible and so worth it? Where's Krista Mashore in 5 years?
I'm the number one real estate trainer in the world.
Number one real estate trainer in the world. That is like, it isn't a goal of, I want to be a top real estate trainer. It isn't a goal of, I want to help a lot of people. It's, I want to be number one. You made the decision of being a coach and a trainer, and you're choosing and making it your responsibility to dominate that space. And I think that's very admirable. And it's something that a lot of people could take away. And I'm just going to go back again. You got to be obsessed or you're just going to be average. And you are not an average person. And I look forward to seeing you on that journey. And I look forward to hopefully chatting with you in 5 years, if you're not too Hollywood on me, and being able to talk about that journey. I think that's amazing.
I appreciate you having me on the show. And I think it's great what you're doing. And, you're so young and you're so driven. That's just awesome. And, you've got a really great mindset. Just keep it up. This is great for people.
I appreciate it, Krista, very, very much. Krista, if you could share a little bit about how somebody could get your book, Fire.
Yes, so right now it's actually on Amazon. It's on Kindle for 99 cents because we're doing a book launch and we're trying to get as many reviews as possible. So it's called Fire, Financially Independent, Retire Early, Your Crappy Job Won't Quit Itself by Krista Mashore. And you can get it there, as well as go to KristaMashore.com. And we teach people how to use digital marketing and video to basically be the community market leader in their area. And both lenders and realtors. We can teach anyone, but we're focusing just on lenders and realtors right now.
Niche down, right?
Yes, exactly. Niche.
Awesome. So I'll put the link to Fire in the show notes. And then I'll also put some of your social handles. Do you have anything that you want, if somebody they were just inspired by this show and they want to DM you or they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, either Facebook or Instagram, or Krista Mashore. That's the best way. And please know, Fire has nothing to do with real estate agents. It'll help real estate agents, but it's basically for young entrepreneurs. It's for anybody who's just feels like, I know I was meant to do more. I don't know how. Sell 100 plus homes a year, which is also on Amazon and Kindle. That's more specifically towards real estate. So just to kind of help if there's any agents or lenders looking. But I love being on here. Thank you so much for having me. I'm getting ready to jump on another podcast next, so I'm not going to be as excited as yours.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Krista. I'm sure everybody appreciates it. I'll put the links to find your books and to find more about you in the show notes. And I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Chase. Keep up the good work, my friend.
All right. Thanks for listening to Life Worth Chasing with me, your host, Chase Maher. If you like the show, smash that subscribe button, leave me a rate and review. You know what? Screenshot the show, share it on Instagram, tag me at I am Chase Maher, and I'll repost it. There's hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there, and you've made the decision to listen to mine, which is so cool. I'll see you on the next show.